TNA Wrestling has renamed pay-per-views as premium live events, leading some to speculate that a possible working relationship could be announced as soon as tomorrow by Triple H. Plenty of details in that. Plus, the first look at New Japan's IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship has been revealed. Will Osprey offers Jon Moxley a ceasefire ahead of their big match at Wrestle Kingdom for the Global Heavyweight title. Charlotte Flair is confirmed to be out of action until October of this year. We've got the ratings for Friday's edition of Smackdown and AEW Rampage. Kevin Owens appears on NXT and punches Grayson Waller square in the face. Carito makes his NXT debut last night, teaming with the LWO. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic returns next week. Obafemi wins the men's Breakout tournament. Swerve Strickland is going to face off against Daniel Garcia on AEW Dynamite tonight. Mariah May is set to make her AEW in-ring debut on the same show too. Plus an update on how Charlie Dempsey fared in his big title match in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about a possible working relationship, perhaps, between TNA Wrestling and WWE. Now, with an interesting change to an aspect of TNA Wrestling's presentation, it's fueled speculation about an upcoming WWE announcement, with Chief Content Officer Triple H set to make an announcement on Thursday's WWE preview special. Rumors have been swirling about what Triple H could have in store for WWE in 2024. Now, a new TNA Wrestling advertisement has now led fans to speculate even more, with the company now referring to pay-per-views as premium live events. In the new trailer for the TNA Plus streaming service, the company advertised that subscribers would have access to, quote, monthly premium live events. Now, WWE has notably been referring to their monthly specials as premium live events, with the company abandoning the term pay-per-view ahead of the January 2022 Day 1 event. This has led to speculation that Triple H could announce some form of working relationship with TNA on Thursday. Now, there have been a few instances of WWE stars working for other promotions under the Triple H regime, most recently with Charlie Dempsey challenging for the All Japan Pro Wrestling Triple Crown Championship today. Now, WWE and TNA/Impact have worked together previously, with Impact allowing their then Knockouts World Champion Mickie James to appear at the 2022 WWE Royal Rumble in a one-night-only crossover when she competed in the Women's Rumble match. Now, it's worth noting that TNA Wrestling has been promoting the upcoming Hard to Kill event as live on pay-per-view, but really what's led to people even further putting two and two together when it comes to TNA and WWE is that TNA Plus will launch in 2 days on January 5th, and actually it's partnered with Endeavor Streaming to power the TNA Plus app. Of course, Endeavor being the owner of WWE, the 51% owner of WWE, and that being TKO Group Holdings. Now, TNA's partnership with Endeavor Streaming certainly is interesting, as this is a subsidiary company of Endeavor, the company which WWE now operates under. So, what do you think Triple H's announcement is going to be tomorrow? Some have speculated it could be something like Trinity, the current Knockouts World Champion, appearing in the Women's Royal Rumble. Of course, it was reported yesterday that many expect her to eventually re-sign with WWE once her contract with TNA Wrestling expires. She could be finishing up as soon as the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Do you think there's something in this? Do you think it's just speculation and it's going to be something else? What do you think about TNA's relationship with Endeavor Streaming? Do you think that's going to lead back to WWE? Do you think WWE are now more open to having working relationships with other smaller promotions? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments section below. Now, let's talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, because Wrestle Kingdom 18 is tomorrow, and during the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 18 press conference, new championship bouts were revealed, with one being set for a three-way match. First up, of course, is the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship bout, which can be seen right there, which will see its inaugural champion crowned at Wrestle Kingdom 18 in the Tokyo Dome. The title replaces the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, with Will Ospreay as the final champion. The match will see Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley versus David Finlay in a three-way for the new championship. Finlay was confident that he would be walking out with the championship, describing his opponents as the Bedrock Moxley and the shiny new toy Osprey of AEW, before saying it would be his pleasure to beat them both. Now, when it comes to both Osprey and Moxley, well, Osprey's called for a ceasefire with his soon-to-be fellow AEW star. Osprey, Moxley, and Finlay, as I mentioned, will face off tomorrow, January 4, to determine the inaugural IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. The new title was introduced after Finlay attacked Osprey and destroyed Osprey's IWGP US and UK title belts in November. While Osprey does have history of Moxley, he's more connected and more certainly concerned about David Finlay's involvement in the match. During Wednesday's pre-Wrestle Kingdom press conference, Osprey made the offer to Jon Moxley, suggesting that for the first 5 minutes of the bout, they should work together. Osprey pitched, quote, "This is a match between me and Moxley. David Finlay, you don't belong here. I'm willing to offer a ceasefire for the first 5 minutes. Me and you work together to get rid of Finlay, then we can have the singles match we wanted. To sweeten the deal, I have 2 non-alcoholic beers." Osprey and Moxley previously faced off at the April 2022 New Japan Windy City Riot event, with Moxley pitting Osprey to win the show's main event. The only other time the duo have shared the ring was for the IWGP US title 4-way match that May, with Juice Robinson defeating Osprey, Moxley, and champion Hiroshi Tanahashi at New Japan Collision 2022. Of course, there will be plenty more opportunities for Osprey and Moxley to face off in the future, with Osprey officially set to join AEW after completing his obligations with New Japan Pro Wrestling this year. Osprey's AEW signing was announced at the November 18 Full Gear pay-per-view, with Osprey stating that he'll be with AEW for the road to the March 3rd Revolution pay-per-view. So let me know your thoughts about Wrestle Kingdom tomorrow. We are going to be doing videos coming out of them, certainly for the big matches, Okada versus Danielson, Osprey versus Moxley. Let me know what kind of coverage you'd like to see from us. We don't usually do New Japan watch-alongs, but it's 2024, so we could start the new year off with a bang. Now, some news on Charlotte Flair when it comes to her serious knee injury. Charlotte Flair was recently ruled out of action after suffering a nasty injury on a recent episode of Smackdown, and the extent of Flair's injury has now been revealed. Flair fell from the top rope during a match with Asuka on December 8, tearing her ACL, MCL, and meniscus as a result. The injury will require surgery scheduled for later this week in Alabama, and a new report from PW Insider suggests that Flair will miss most of 2024, with a return date of October penciled in for the Queen. Despite her injury, Flair is believed to have recently signed a bumper new contract with WWE, with Flair reportedly committing her future to the company for several more years. The new deal is reporting as one of the biggest in the history for a female performer in WWE, with Flair also getting a private tour bus for travel, a perk usually reserved for the biggest stars in the company. Charlotte's latest injury setback comes after missing most of 2022, with Flair taking 7 months a hiatus to get married and rehab several nagging injuries as well. So Flair's not expected back until October of this year. Let's talk about the ratings for last Friday's episode of Smackdown. Of course, it was a best-of episode, so the numbers weren't great as one would expect. The final Smackdown of 2023, much like the final Raw, was a best-of show dedicated to the highlights from the past year. And much like said Raw episode, it took a significant hit in the ratings, dropping double digits in both overall viewership and viewership in the 18 to 49 demographic. WrestleNomics is reporting that Smackdown was down 36% in overall viewership, with 1.355 million viewers tuning in total. The 18 to 49 demographic was down 49%, scoring a 0.28 in the coveted demographic. The highest rated segment in both demographics was the show's opening segment, which was followed by a swift and steady decline throughout most of the program, with the lowest rated segment in both demographics coming during the replay of Rey Mysterio vs. Logan Paul. The show rebounded slightly for the final 2 quarters of the night, but never to the heights of the show's opening. Smackdown suffered a marginal slip in the ratings in the week before, but nothing like the massive drop for this past week's highlight episode, as it only dropped around 6%. Now, Raw, not this past week's day, one additional Raw, waiting for the ratings for that, but the best of episode suffered similarly in the ratings, with a 55% drop in overall viewership for its Christmas Day best of edition of the program, and a 62% drop in the 18 to 49 demographic. Meanwhile, Dynamite actually managed to jump 8% during the ratings during the pre-New Year's post-Christmas lull. But it'll be interesting to see what the numbers are this week now that everything is seemingly back to normal. Now let's talk about Rampage. Of course, that aired on Friday, and that was prior to the World's End pay-per-view. Per Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, Rampage drew 326,000 viewers on TNT. This is down from the December 29 edition that drew 363,000 viewers. In the key 18 to 49 demographic, Friday show scored a 0.11 rating. This is up from the week prior that scored a 0.10 rating. The show featured Action Andretti and Top Flight defeating Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero in a trios main event. Also, Wheeler Yuta defeated Matt Sydal for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, and Ruby Soho defeated Marina Shafir. Meanwhile, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara made amends ahead of teaming up at the World's End pay-per-view. Now, let's talk about NXT last night. Of course, it was the New Year's Evil special, and after WWE confirmed that Ilya Dragunov was not medically cleared to defend his NXT Championship on Tuesday's episode of NXT, his challenger, Trick Williams, was penciled in for another match instead. This match, dubbed the Battle of the Iron Survivors, pitted Williams against Grayson Waller, both of whom previously won a men's Iron Survivor challenge. The main event came with added stakes as well, as Williams put his number one contendership on the line, meaning that if Waller emerged victorious, Waller would earn a future shot at Dragunov in Williams' place. The closing moments of the match saw Williams seize control and an unexpected arrival of his ally Carmelo Hayes, who had originally been instructed to stay backstage in the locker room. As Williams and Hayes conversed with each other, Waller rolled to the outside to catch his breath. Before Waller re-entered the ring, he received a forearm to the face courtesy of his SmackDown rival Kevin Owens, a move that was followed up by a knee to the face from Williams. With Waller now planted in the center of the ring, Williams swiftly covered the Aussie performer for a 3 count to secure the victory and keep himself in line for the NXT Championship. As of this recording, WWE is yet to announce the makeup date for Dragunov's title defense against Williams. Dragunov has been sidelined with a storyline injury for 2 weeks now after absorbing an awkward DDT from Rich Holland on the December 19 episode of NXT. Speaking of main roster stars on NXT last night, Carito made his NXT debut, certainly this version of NXT. Dragon Lee, of course, this week shared the unfortunate news that he would be unable to appear on this week's New Year's Evil episode of NXT due to issues with his visa that kept him from leaving Mexico. Following Lee's announcement, reports then suggested that veteran performer Carlito was slated to take Lee's place in last night's 6-man tag team match featuring the LWO's Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, and Drew Gulak, Miles Bourne, and Damon Kemp of the No Quarter Catch crew. These reports were later confirmed when Wilde and Del Toro officially introduced Carlito as their substitute tag team partner, marking Carlito's NXT debut in the process. Towards the end of the match, Carlito laid out Kemp and Bourne with a double clothesline, to which Kemp responded with a roll-up on Carlito. Unfortunately for Kemp, Carlito had already tagged in Del Toro beforehand, allowing Del Toro to blindside him with a 450 splash for the victory. After the match, Carlito spat an apple into the face of Gulak. The LWO resurfaced on NXT television last month, saving Dragon Lee from the No Quarter Catch crew beatdown after he retained the NXT North American Championship against Charlie Dempsey and Gallus' Joe Coffey. 1 week later, NXT confirmed the aforementioned 6-man tag team match. So Carlito back, of course, after being taken out by Santos Escobar prior to Survivor Series War Games in Chicago. Now, next week, NXT will see the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. During the NXT special New Year's Evil episode, Ava Raine announced that the 2024 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic tournament will begin next week on the January 9 episode of NXT. Throughout the show, several teams declared their intent to enter the Dusty Classic, whether they were already established in the division or newly joining forces. We know that at least one existing tag team, Idris Enofe and Malik Blade, will be in the tournament. They announced as much during a backstage confrontation with longtime frenemies Nathan Fraser and Axiom, who will also enter. Chase U will also have a presence in the Dusty Classic, though instead of former NXT Tag Team Champions Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, the University will be represented by Hudson and men's Breakout tournament runner-up Riley Osborne. Finally, Baron Corbin managed to convince former NXT Champion Bron Breakker to be his partner, predicting that the pair will be unstoppable. It's a familiar spot for Corbin. He made it to the finals of the original Dusty Classic in 2015, alongside former champion ECW World Champion Rhino, whose gore finisher happens to be essentially the same as Breaker's spear. The return of the Dusty Classic, which took place in 2022, was announced by Dusty's son Cody Rhodes, while he served as NXT's guest general manager on October 10. The winners will receive a tag team championship match against the reigning champions Tony D'Angelo and Stax Lorenzo. Previous winners include then NXT champion Finn Balor and current AEW World Champion Samoa Joe in 2015, the recently returns Authors of Pain in 2016, current AEW stars Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in 2018, Aleister Black, now Malachi Black in AEW, and Ricochet in 2019, Pete Dunne, now known as Butch, and the recently released Matt Riddle in 2020, Wesley and former partner Nash Carter in 2021, and the Creed Brothers in 2022. Of course, the Creed Brothers now on the main roster on Monday Night Raw. We have a winner of the men's breakout tournament in NXT. NXT kicked off the year with New Year's Evil on Tuesday, which played host to the finals of the men's breakout tournament. After a blistering tournament, former University of Alabama track and field star Obafemi has won the tournament. On Tuesday's show, Femi's brute force was no match for the athletic Chase U recruit Riley Osborne. Osborne did his best to outmaneuver the massive wrestler, but Femi drilled him into the canvas with a powerbomb. Femi is the first men's breakout tournament winner since 2021, which was won by former NXT champion Carmelo Hayes. Femi has come a long way from his debut victory over the Metaphor's Oro Mensah in April, winning his first match of the breakout tournament and now the whole tournament in general. So certainly congratulations go to Obafemi. Of course, tonight is AEW Dynamite on TBS and we're getting a huge match on the show. Swerve Strickland is set to face off against a big opponent in Newark, New Jersey tonight. At AEW World's End, Swerve Strickland defeated Dustin Rhodes. Now this was a replacement match after Strickland's original opponent Keith Lee wasn't cleared to compete. Coming off the heels of the AEW Continental Classic, many fans are watching Swerve closely to see what's next for All Elite Wrestling's fastest rising star. On January 2nd, Tony Khan announced that Swerve Strickland will face another Continental Classic participant, Daniel Garcia, this Wednesday, today, January 3rd, on AEW Dynamite. So a big match certainly announced for the show. In addition to that, tonight we're going to witness the in-ring debut of Mariah May on AEW Dynamite. AEW CEO Tony Khan has announced that new AEW star Mariah May's first opponent in the promotion. He then revealed that the former Stardom wrestler will be facing former GCW Women's Champion Queen Amanita in her in-ring debut match on this week's Dynamite. May had revealed during an interview with Renee Paquette during last week's episode of Dynamite that she was going to make her debut, though at the time she didn't know who was going to be her opponent. The English star had signed with AEW back in November and has been featured alongside her idol, that being AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm on AEW television, and was part of Storm's recent feud with Riho. Last Saturday at World's End, Storm successfully retained her title against the first ever AEW World Champion. The 25-year-old's last in-ring match was on September 30, where she lost to former Future of Stardom champion Hanan at the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix 2023 event. May began her pro wrestling career in 2019 and is a former Goddess of Stardom champion. So certainly a big match announced for tonight's show. Finally, we have an update on Charlie Dempsey in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Unfortunately, Dempsey won't be returning to NXT with the All Japan Triple Crown Heavyweight Championship. Dempsey challenged Katsushika Nakajima for All Japan Pro Wrestling's top title on their January 3rd show, but was unable to put the champion away as Nakajima ultimately scored the successful title defense following his vertical spike brainbuster finisher. The two wrestlers shook hands after the match before Nakajima's next challenger was revealed. Nakajima's win ties his record with Dempsey at 1-1. NXT talent pinned Nakajima in tag team action on January 2nd when he teamed with Yuma Anzai to take on the All Japan Triple Crown champion and Hideki Suzuki. Partnership between All Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE NXT was revealed in the final days of 2023. Dempsey has been part of WWE since early 2021, initially wrestling for NXT UK before he moved to the main brand in the United States. He is part of the No Quarter Catch crew. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.